The game that everybody has been waiting for. We play the Chiefs. Who's the best tight end? Who's the MVP so far of the season? We're going to find this and a couple of things more on my preview of the game. And we're going behind enemy lines coming right out. What's up, guys? My name is Sunny. Welcome to szg Sports. If this is your first time here and you love some Ravens content, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, because we're gonna be doing live every Tuesday 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, it used to be Mondays. We're gonna move it to Tuesday because of Monday Night Football. It looks to be better for everybody. So I'm excited for that change. And hey, this is the preview of the Chiefs game. So everybody's hyped. I'm hyped, right? I'm waiting for this game. I think it's going to be a tight one. I think it's going to be a contested one. I'm going to give you my score prediction at the end. In the middle of the podcast, we have my guy from szg.sports. He has a podcast from the Chiefs. He's going to weigh in on what he thinks this game's going to sway, who he thinks is going to win, and all that good stuff. But let's just first, let's break it down a little bit. So, this game, obviously, it's an important game. Not more important than next week's game, but important nonetheless. A lot of people are, even though we're hyped, a lot of people are also saying like we haven't played anybody. In my opinion, Miami is a bad team. I think the Cardinals are a better team than people think. I think they're probably gonna be a 6-10, 7-9 team, which is a good jump from what they were last year. So that's important, right? Lamar still has looked good. Didn't matter against neither of those teams. So let's talk about our offense. Our offense against their defense. I think we have the upper hand in that matchup. What I'm expecting, the O-line has to keep it clean. The O-line has to do what they have been doing. Not Powers, but Bozeman. Bozeman has to keep playing better. He had a good game. He he allowed the one sack, but for the most part, he had a really good game, fairly clean. Zeus needs to clean those holding penalties. That cannot happen. We need to make sure Frank Clark and Chris Holmes are quiet. Right? We don't want to hear from those outside rushers. We don't want to hear from them. We want to have a clean pocket, because if you provide a clean pocket to Lamar, now we're talking about who's going to cover our receivers. Kendall Fuller is a pretty good, one of the best slot corners. But who's in our slot? Willie Snead, sometimes. Hollywood Brown, right? Andrews, he cannot cover Andrews. Andrews is the biggest mismatch we have in this game. Hollywood is also, because he's a speedy guy. But they practice against speedy guys. They can, But who will they cover? Who will cover Mandrews? So say, keep Lamar clean. Now, after that, outside corners are a liability against our receivers, right? And Mandrews, man, I don't even know again how they're gonna cover. Honey Badger is a decent defender. He knows how to cover. Andrews, as I told you guys before, he's a bully. He can use his body. Honey Badger ain't that big. I'm expecting Andrews to have a big game. So the other side, I'm thinking Hollywood gets bracketed. So I'm expecting Hollywood to have not as good as a game that he has had before. So he needs Boykins more to get a step up, to cover some of the yardage and receptions that Hollywood has gotten. And I'm expecting that, right? Also, deception. Our running game has to continue. We should pound that ball, because the other key to this game, and this is super important, is TOP, time of possession. They cannot win the time of possession, and we cannot be 50-50. What you want, in theory, is 36-24. That would be amazing. You keep their best weapon on the sideline, which is Patty Mahomes. Our best weapon, Lamar Jackson, on the field. That's the key for this game. If Lamar is most of the game on the field and Patty Mahomes is there, that translates to a W. So obviously no turnovers, that's key. No miscues. Because with this team, you cannot allow them to, like, last year, we were winning that game. We had that game pretty much in the back, fourth and forever. It wasn't a Hail Mary, but let's say Hail Mary, and Hill came and catch the ball. So we need to make sure that doesn't happen for the game. Now let's flip it on the other side, on defense. And this is what everybody's been concerned, right? Because our corners and our corners and our corners, blah, blah, blah. So first, pass rushers. You have been getting behind. You have been getting to the quarterback. You have been hitting the quarterback. Continue to hit that quarterback. Also, let's finish the sacks. If you're there, make sure you finish the sacks. Contain him, finish, wrap him, hit Patty Mahomes. Because hitting him, then he's going to start seeing ghosts. He might start rushing the pass. That's going to help our secondary. Second, what it looked to me that every time we were man, we were mismatched because of bad communication. We cannot be man. And what I'm hoping to see is Carr on Kelsey. Humphries either on Mecole Hardman, and Robinson, he balled out last game, and Sammy Watkins. So either Hardman, Sammy Watkins, or Johnson, whoever, and then Avery to the other guy. The other expectation is Thomas is going to play deep in this game. He ain't going to allow somebody to get behind them, right? And if one of our corners gets burned, the expectation is, in that moment, Thomas almost like brackets that and helps out. So I'm expecting Avery to get help. I'm expecting Carr to be on Kelsey, because other than Carr, who can you put? I guess you can put Marlon, and then flip with Carr and Marlon, but you need a big body guy there. It's not gonna be ET. TJ might have been a good game last year against him, but TJ is also undersized, so it could happen the same thing that I said for Tyrann Mathieu against Mandrews. Meaning Tyrus could be in position, but Mander's just bigger and stronger, so he can make the catch. That's what I'm expecting if you put TJ and Kelsey. So, pressure, force Mahomes to throw the ball quick, man up, not really a lot of zone coverage. Work on those receivers, tight end, and then last but not least, well, two more things. So, clean those penalties. You cannot have 12 minutes on the field. You can't. After a fourth and fifth, they're going to punt, and you're going to tell me we're going to have 12 men on the field. I'm going to lose my shit. You can't give them extra opportunities. Don't leave points on the board. And last thing is, watch McCoy. Shady McCoy's there. So make sure he doesn't have a good game in the running attack, which we have for the past 2 weeks. We had choked those running backs. Last week we faced a good one. First week really wasn't a good running back, but last week we did. And also, like last week, don't allow Shady McCoy to leak out of the backfield and get big yardage. Don't let Mahomes cheat on a dump off that goes for 20 yards. So our linebackers have to be on point. The reality is, against the Chiefs, everybody has to be on point. Andy Reid is a mastermind on the offense. We need to be good, and on defense, we have to be disciplined. So I cannot say like we can't allow yards, because that's not gonna happen against this team. But try to, if you're gonna bend, don't break. Allow more field goals than touchdowns. And on the offensive side, the foot off the pedal. Push hard, no mercy. Try to score, because this game you need to score a lot of points. But anyway, I said this is gonna be a Behind Enemy Lines episode, so I'm gonna leave you with my boy from Arrowhead Fanatics. Take it away.
I'm here to give you a little bit of perspective from a Chiefs fan from my little corner of Chiefs Kingdom. Now, I want to start by saying I think this is going to be an amazing, great game. I think a lot of the Baltimore Ravens, I think the Ravens and Chiefs are two of the three best teams in the AFC and probably two of the best five teams in the NFL. And we're going to learn a lot from each other this week. It's going to be kind of a benchmark game to see how good both of us are right now. And these are the type of games that show you what you need to work on going forward towards the postseason, where I think both of these teams will probably end up. Now, I want to start by talking about the Chiefs' defense. They switched from a 3-4 last year to a 4-3 this year. New defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, and a whole lot of different defensive personnel. Now, the strength of this defense, strangely enough, is the defensive line. Still got Chris Jones as your 3-tech, who's a dynamic player. He's only getting better. You've got Frank Clark, who the Chiefs, traded for, and then you've got Okafor, and then the nose tackle is Derek Nottie, and then each of those guys has a capable backup. Now, in the first two games, the stats for the defense against the run weren't fantastic, but that was kind of skewed. Josh Jacobs had a big 51-yard run in garbage time for the Raiders. And the truth is, when you watch these games, in the first half, when the Chiefs needed to stop the run, they were able to stop the run. And that's something they were not able to do last year. Now, I don't think they're going to shut down the Ravens' run game, but they're going to be a much bigger challenge than they were last year. Now, in the secondary, the Chiefs have two new safeties, Tyrann Mathieu and Juan Thornhill. Thornhill is a rookie. He looks like he's going to be a star. He has some crazy speed. It's going to be fun to see him running around in the secondary with your guys' young receivers, Boykins and Brown, who I think a lot of. I think those are both good players. Borderline, could be great players. And, the Chiefs' corners, they've all got weaknesses. Last week, the Chiefs played some cover six. Let one of their corners play some man, let everybody else play zone. Ward is much more comfortable in man, and Breeland and Fuller are good in zone. I expect to see some variations of stuff. Now, what'll really be interesting to me is what the Chiefs do with their linebackers on defense, because they've been using kind of a big nickel and a small nickel. In the big nickel, you've got Anthony Hitchens and Damian Wilson as your two linebackers on the field. They are big, bruising guys. And against Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards, I think it's important to have those guys in there. But they're not sideline-to-sideline linebackers at all. In the Chiefs' small nickel, you've got Darren Lee and Ben Neiman, who are both linebackers that can flat out run and they can get to the edges. So it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs deploy their linebackers, and if the Ravens kind of try to dictate who the Chiefs use as their linebackers and try to take advantage of that. And now, the first two teams that the Chiefs played, the Raiders and the Jaguars, they used a ton of 11 personnel. And I'm kind of interested to see if the Ravens use 11 personnel or 12 personnel against us. If you guys come out in 12 personnel, two tight ends, we might actually get to see our base defense, which we really haven't seen much of at all so far this season. I think Darren Lee would be the linebacker that would come in kind of in the base defense. And I think this is going to be an exciting matchup because the Chiefs' defense, I do believe, is improved, and I think your guys' offense is really dynamic. Now, on offense, Patrick Mahomes, he's got an ankle injury. He is limited. I know he torched the Raiders, but when you watch that film, especially the All-22 film, you can see he made some of those throws off one foot. It's just insane, but his ankle is hurting him worse than he let on. And the Chiefs also lost left tackle Eric Fisher. He didn't really play in the Raiders game, and it was announced today that he's going to be out with kind of sports hernia surgery. And his backup is Cam Irving. I do not think much of Cam Irving. I've never been a big fan of his. This last week against the Raiders, he did a good job pass blocking, which really surprised me, but he was going up against a rookie in Clelin Ferrell. And then his run blocking grade was in the 20s. Ferrell literally destroyed the Chiefs' run game by himself going up against Irving. The Chiefs only averaged 1.4 yards per rush against the Raiders. It was really pathetic. And then, the Chiefs' offensive line as a whole isn't really that strong right now. They're a group that's still gelling, especially that left side that's going to have Irving and Wiley and the center Ryder. None of them are particularly strong players at the moment. They're guys that are going to have to learn how to play together and develop. And I'm worried about this Ravens defense just being able to collapse the middle, and no quarterback likes pressure up the middle. It's going to be important for the Chiefs, Chris Jones, to get pressure on Lamar Jackson up the middle, and it's going to be important for you guys to get pressure on Mahomes up the middle, especially with his limited mobility. Now the Chiefs wide receivers, of course, Tyreek Hill is out. Sammy Watkins looks as good as he's looked, at least since he's been with the Chiefs. One thing I do want to say is that Watkins and Mahomes do not have the chemistry that Mahomes and Hill had. It kind of seemed like Mahomes and Hill saw the field the same, and you will see that Watkins and Mahomes don't always read everything the same way. And if it's an option route, Watkins might go one way and Mahomes throw another way. It's just they're not quite as in sync as Hill and Mahomes. And then the other receivers, McCole Hardman, the rookie, and Demarcus Robinson, they're both guys that can get deep. They can run vertical routes. You guys have Earl Thomas back there. I doubt you're too worried about vertical routes. You're going to be able to get a lot more pressure up front than the Raiders did. They're not a great pass rushing team. And I'm worried offensively that McCole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson, but especially McCole Hardman, he doesn't really run routes that aren't a post route or a go route. So that mid-range, shorter area, he just doesn't have anything there. And I think that's going to be a very important area of the field for the Chiefs this week. Travis Kelce, he was coming off-season ankle surgery. You could tell in the first couple games he had good games, but he did look like by the end of the games he was gassed. I think he's still working himself into shape a little bit. He looks to me personally like he's put on probably 20 pounds this offseason, and he's playing stronger. I expect Kelce to be targeted a lot in this game because him and Mahomes have the best chemistry out of the guys playing right now. I also expect Watkins to get a lot of targets. And like I said, I really don't love this matchup, but Mahomes just seems to find a way to make things work, so I'm not going to start doubting him now. Now, as far as the run game goes, LaShawn McCoy had an ankle injury late in the Raiders game. He had an MRI. Everything looks good. It's still not 100% that he's going to be able to play. Damian Wilson had a knee bruise in that game, so he's a little bit banged up too. Damian Williams, the running back, he had the knee bruise. He's definitely been more of the pass catcher out of the running backs, and McCoy's been the better runner so far. Now, if one of those guys can't go, the Chiefs have two very capable running backs behind them, and Darrell Williams, who's more of a bruiser, and then you've got Darwin Thompson, who's he's a smaller guy, but he's got a ton of speed. He's got a lot of power too. So if those guys have to come in, they'll be fine. I know there's been some things said out there about the Chiefs' run game that they haven't been that explosive this year, but I think a lot of that has been the offensive line, and I don't know if that's going to get better against the Ravens. My prediction for this game is the Chiefs 30, the Ravens 26. It's kind of an odd score. I think it's a really close game. I'm just not going to doubt Mahomes. That's all I got. Go Chiefs.
There you have it. So that's what he thinks. That's his prediction. I'm going to give you now my prediction. I think this game is going to be close. And it's going to be determined by the team that commits the least amount of penalties, wins the time of possession, and doesn't commit the turnover. I have it 30-27 Ravens. We edge it with a Tucker field goal at the end of the game, and we win this game. Now, you let me know. What is your score prediction down in the comments below? Hey guys, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Also, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at szg.sports. Instagram, we're going to be trying to do some halftime review. So, check that out. And don't forget to watch one of the videos before you leave here on the side. Thank you, and I will see you next time.